Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Airventure's virtual live air show. We are happy to bring you today's coverage of a virtual air show from Airventure 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, as we look high, and as you can tell right now, as they just took off, it's the Extra 300. And we are about to see some fun stuff this afternoon, which will also be taken up in the air this afternoon here at Airventure Virtual Air Show 2025. Welcome in. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and please remove your cover. All men, please stand up and remove your cover for the national anthem. How's it going? Welcome to the channel. Come on. Welcome to the channel, everybody. If you're brand new to the channel, we thank you so much for participating. We are fired up to get this show started. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And today, as we watch high and to the left as well, as we get ready for one, oh really? As we get ready for one of the jumpers this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, here at Airventure Virtual Air Show. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as we watch high today, as the jumpers are still jumping. Ladies and gentlemen, today's jump team is the Golden Knights parachute team, jumping out of the C-147A. The C-147A is one of those aircrafts that are meant for the Golden Knights jump team and participate in every one of these jumps each day. It is a Microsoft Flight Sim doing a virtual air show. As the parachute team will execute and explode from 100 miles per hour as they free fall from the air down to show center. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please bring your attention over to the lineup here this afternoon. We have ourselves a great show. And here they come as they free fall. There they go. They jump from 100 feet through the air, executing at 100 excess of 100 miles per hour. Now watch, ladies and gentlemen, as their parachutes will shoot out of today. And we get set up right here. Ladies and gentlemen, they can hear you. Make sure you make some noise for your Golden Knights parachute team. All right. As the parachute team now executes at 100 miles per hour as they free fall from the show center line into the other portion of today's jump. The Golden Knights would like to thank everybody that is participating and showing off their amazing skills of jumping. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing this afternoon? We welcome you to this virtual air show. As we get ready to showcase something here for you guys this afternoon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to watch now on takeoff this afternoon, folks. As we watch on takeoff this afternoon, you are about to see home-built showcase aircraft, which is various airplanes. taking their seat, taking their flights this afternoon here on this sunny afternoon for an air show, folks. We're about to see and verify the precision of flying. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard to the air show. This is the virtual air show that we're doing. We are showcasing home-built aircraft where we just do some flybys until about 2:40. So here we go, guys. Welcome in. So, ladies and gentlemen, watch this. Now we're going to send the mic over to Jetlags to take over and let him do the announcing for this showcase flying. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jetlags, Air Shows and Adventures. We appreciate you guys being here today. What you're seeing now this afternoon, folks, is takeoff by the Whitman Tail Dragger, which was a home-built aircraft in multiple of these aircraft. These planes are very capable, very nice capability. Their turning rate is very precise. And the next one you see taking off now, guys, is called the Delta aircraft, which is right behind the Whitman Tail Dragger. And it's the Delta Dyke aircraft, which is a funny looking little airplane. And it is a very unique plane. And now you got the Long Easy taking off right behind him, showcasing the capability of the aircraft. You also got some other aircraft right there as well. So you got the Delta Dyke aircraft, and then you also got the Tail Dragger, Whitman Tail Dragger, and you also got the Long Easy, which was built by the Rutans. Dick and Bert Rutan was the one that custom made and custom-made the build for the Long Easy, trying to get something a little bit unique. And you got an RV taking off right behind him here. And here we go towards show center, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Whitman aircraft. Like I said, here he comes right down to show center here. The Whitman Tail Dragger is going to show you, make a couple passes for us this afternoon, showcasing what is capability. Look at how precise this aircraft is. And now he'll go nose forward towards show center. Showcasing one of the best aircraft. And look at the turn rate on this airplane. This turn rate is just unbelievable if you watch it. The turn rate is very high and knowledgeable for this highly modified turn rate airplane. You'll take it over this water, and here comes the Delta Dyke aircraft, a funny looking stubby little aircraft, which is right behind. And here comes the RV. These are all home-built aircraft, guys. This is the home-built showcase. It's the parade of airplanes coming inbound as they do showcase all their planes, and this is why we show you guys these popular airplanes as they still come back and start making more, working their way towards show center even more, folks. In this home-built showcase various aircraft show, we have a great lineup for you guys. We have Jeff Urban and Britt Lincoln, who will be doing the IAC aerobatics. And then we have Eric Edgar. And then we have a blimp. We have Warbirds. We have Redline. We have Racers, Vicky Benzing, and Steve Hinton and Warren Page. And then we also have the 4810 Warhogs, Jeff Conley in the Vampire. We have Matt Youngkin in the Twin Beach. We have the USAF C-17 demo. We also have Beta, he stole. Trojans, we got Thunder of the AT-6s, 6 of them. We also have Skip Stewart. And we also have the F-35. We have a lot to showcase for you this afternoon, guys. Sit back, enjoy the afternoon air show this afternoon here, right here from Airventure Virtual Air Shows. Here's our next pass, ladies and gentlemen, right here towards Show Center. Look at this as the aircraft causes some heavy bank turn. As we'll set these guys up as they make other passes. We will be getting, we'll be taking off 2 extra 300s. The reason why um, the aircraft that we will be deploying for you guys this afternoon has been remarked many times. And our simulator did crash. We do apologize for that. And you do have a huge time show coming up. You're gonna experience something a little bit different. It is the IAC Aerobatic Champions. We thank you guys so much for tuning in this afternoon. We try to bring you as much coverage as we can. So stick around here, folks, as we set up some landings with the various aircraft. And we have a lot more to come this afternoon. So sit back, enjoy, get whatever you need. Have a drink of a soda, have a drink of water. Make sure you stay hydrated. It is a warm one today, folks. Hello, welcome in. Arcelia of the Golden, welcome in. We welcome people all around the world tuning into this wonderful virtual air show that we have going here. And we get ready and as we get set for this amazing, whatever you call it, amazing show, we'll have 2 extra 300s going up in the air. 2 extra 300 SCs as we get ready to see Britt Lincoln and Jet Bourbon flying the extra 300 in this afternoon show. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes to get this takeoff and festivities started with our first little portion of our aerobatics. And don't forget, folks, we do have a twilight show this evening as well. So we will be doing a twilight show. This is so much of these airplanes and so much to watch and so much to get through on this excellent day of an air show, ladies and gentlemen. As we get ready, as they do depart, we will be launching 2 extra 300s, like I said. So you'll be getting ready to see 2 extras taking off this afternoon. Let's tell you guys a little bit about the Extra 300. They are nice airplanes. They're great for aerobatics. They're great for whatever you want to do. You have so much resemblance in such a wonderful airplane. And I can tell you right now, it's one of these planes that have been flown for many air shows around the world and around the globe, and you are seeing them right here as well. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the three extra 300s. There's about 2 of these planes that will be launching here on runway 36. As we do get these guys launched, guys and girls launched, and as we get ready for launch, and we get ready for 2 extra 300s. They're just testing out their modem just to make sure everything is running smoothly. And then these guys will be thrown in the air. And we'll be set for 2 extras. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this as they take off. They'll climb for altitude, and once they do, we will tell you guys what we have coming up here with the IAC International Aerobatic Competition. We have Jeff Bourbon and we have Britt Lincoln flying the extra 300s for us this afternoon as they will climb for altitude. Once they climb for altitude, they'll be beginning and start their performance this afternoon here under today's sky of air shows. All right, ladies and gentlemen and folks from all over, we welcome you guys in. And we are getting ready for Jeff Bourbon and Britt Lincoln showing you guys what they got. They fly till 2:50. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you right now. Watch high into the left or into the right at Show Center. Ladies and gentlemen, there is Jeff Bourbon and Britt Lincoln here at Show Center. Here they come down to perform for you this afternoon. And they both go nose down right towards the ground, towards Show Center. Watch them both pull back on the stick. Here comes the pull. Right here as Jeff now pulls up back and he communicates and says, pull, Britt, pull, pull, pull. And he'll flip it upside down. She'll flip it upside down. There's a nice loop upside down, just like that. What's not there to like, folks? Here at this virtual air show, ladies and gentlemen, this is the IAC competition. And watch Jeff Bourbon pull straight back on the stick. And he'll roll it on the way up just like this, climbing for altitude just like this. Look at that. And he'll flip it right around once again towards Show Center. And this time he'll be back inbound here in just a second to get this thing started. Again, as you watch now, Britt Lincoln is a young female pilot who's flying this extra 300 with Jeff Bourbon and the extra 300, showing you all the capabilities, what they do for the International Aerobatic Competition. Here they go now as they bring it down, and Jeff Bourbon will flip his airplane upside down here towards Show Center. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff Bourbon in the extra 300 LS. Watch now as Jeff now covers 1, 2, and 3. Watch now as Jeff now pulls back on the stick like this. Up they go, climbing, 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 And all the way back, just him upside down all by himself with no one hanging there by the props. And it's a nice maneuver, ladies and gentlemen, by Jeff Bourbon in the extra 300L. Look at Jeff now flip it upside down, right side up, and here he goes straight back on the sticky poles. This is a light combing engine for the extra 300. And we're about to see something. Oh, simulator crashed again. Never mind. Horse Show Center. Watch Jeff now pull straight up in the air, and he'll snap it right around for you here at Show Center. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bourbon and the extra 300 LS. And he throws the airplane all the way up in the air, and he climbing for altitude just like this. And where he stops, nobody even figures out where he's going to stop. And now he brings it towards Show Center once again. In this beautiful extra 300 LS. And here's Jeff Bourbon once again, and he'll throw it right up right with a couple snap rolls out the top just like this. A little couple rolls out the top, and he'll invert it right here towards Show Center, and now gets it back going right here. Gains some airspeed. Here they come. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, a nice little Heidi ho way up high, and now he'll flip it upside down once again here at Show Center. Jeff Bourbon in the extra 300 in the IAC competition. As Jeff Bourbon is now, he also has a jet powered Waco, which was a great aircraft, which you will see a little bit later on in the week. And there's a nice little roll upside down, just like this, couple of low spins. And towards Show Center, here comes the kick forward and pull straight back on the stick. All the way up they go. And he'll roll it on the way up, all the way up like this. And he runs out of airspeed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here he comes. Kicks it forward, upside down, kicks it forward, kicks it right side up. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Bourbon in the extra 300. And here comes Brittany Lincoln in her extra 300. Look at this now as Brittany snaps it right around, circulating with the heavy snap roll. She rolls it and she flips it upside down, and here she comes. There goes Britt upside down, close towards the ground, and she'll pull out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Britt and Jeff Bourbon, extra 300. This is the IAC aerobatic competition. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. As now here's Jeff, and here she comes. Britt now hangs it by her prop as she holds it there for a couple seconds. Little, not too late. And here comes Britt as she makes her way around towards Show Center. And she'll hit it as hard as she can with G-force. Ladies and gentlemen, watch Britt do a knife edge pass. How do you like that, folks? Oh my goodness, let's hear it right here at air shows all around the continent. And here she goes. She flips the airplane, tosses it around, up and around we go. And she'll hang there on her prop and just settles it in just a little bit. And Britt now recovers. And ladies and gentlemen, Now, here comes the formation as they both get up high and they both team up once again as partners in the sky. High flying action with these two extra 300s. Trying to gain altitude. Altitude is trying to gain altitude. Hi, is this Microsoft Flight Simulator? It is ATC Tom Real Life. How are you doing? Are you, if it says ATC Tom, are you a real air traffic controller? And now watch this, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to watch Jeff Berman and Britt Lincoln in formation flying. Here we go, folks. How's it going, Tom, real life? Are you a real air traffic controller? And watch this. Now Jeff Berman pulls back on the stick, followed by Brittany as she throws the airplane upside down. He'll throw the airplane upside down. They're both upside down. How do you like this? Brings it down towards show center once again, folks. Here we go. Pulls back. And now Britt and Jeff are climbing and they'll kick the rudder over. Just like this. All right, folks, this is, and here she comes. Look at a couple little snap rolls. And here we go, as now Jeff Berman pulls up, and he'll do a couple snap rolls on the way up, just like this. Look at that. That's called the Hui Tumble. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Berman flying the extra 300 with his partner, Britt Lincoln. Britt grew up flying aviation at the age of 9 years old. She now is showing you her capabilities of flying great aerobatics today here at this virtual air show this afternoon. Watch now, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes Jeff Berman, and he'll flip it upside down just like this towards show center. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's put your hands together for Britt and Jeff Berman. And they will come back around and they will set it up for a landing this afternoon. They like to thank you guys so much for watching and participating in today's air show. They would like to thank you guys so much for participating in today's show as now they set up for runway 36. Hey, what's up, Vasquez? Vasquez. How's it going? Welcome to the virtual air show that we're doing here this afternoon. And we're setting up for landing this afternoon here with this extra 300 this afternoon. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have, how are you? I'm new to in this channel. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, Vasquez. Coming up next, we have Eric Edgar, and the T-Clips coming right up once Jeff and Britt set up for landing this afternoon here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the IHC International Aerobatic Competition. Yes. What is the name of your game? Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are doing a virtual air show this afternoon. I can't thank you enough for being here. How are you doing? Sit back and enjoy. We have a T-clip aircraft coming up next. Do you like air shows, Vasquez? And here he comes, and sets it up. And here comes Britt right behind, ladies and gentlemen, as the extra 300s set up for landing on runway 36 this afternoon. Do you like air shows? Because we're doing a virtual air show this afternoon for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night we have a night show. Tonight we have stuff under. Tonight we have a Twilight Festival tonight. If you like air shows, if you like air shows, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yes. Oh nice. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give it up for the your extra 300s and the IAC competition. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for them. What do you think about the IAC competition, folks? We have the IAC competition aerobatics. And coming up next, we have T Clips coming up next with Eric Edgar and the T Clips, and he'll be showing you guys something pretty amazing. Believe it or not, we have a unbelievable airplane that we have coming up for you guys next. We got the T Clips. I find a plane that looks like the T Clips. T Clips aircraft coming up. I'll just use them all. Them all will be like the T Clips. Thank you very much for that notification. We got a little T Clips aircraft coming up. And yes, indeed, we have a little special um, thing. We would like to thank our sponsor, or our sponsor this afternoon, which is, you guys might have to check it out, Eargoes. Eargoes is probably one of the best earplugs you could ever buy. Earplugs by Eargoes. Thank you, Eargoes, for making this air show all week long possible, as this week's air show is presented by Eargoes Earplugs. All right, folks, we'll be back with you guys in just a second. Before we get started, hold tight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. We thank you guys for tuning in. We are back. We are ready to rock and roll this afternoon. We are getting ready for Eric Edgern and the T-Clip aircraft as he just gets on there and taxis out for just a little bit. And as they do taxi it up, taxi back, and they're holding short of the runway this afternoon. This is Eric Edgern and the T-Clips aircraft. It is a beautiful airplane, and it is great capability of great aerobatics. And what we're about to see now is on takeoff, you'll see smoke and you'll see pressure. A lot of G-force that they pull on this aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, as he gets set to get going, smoke comes on, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Edgern and the T-Clips. Here we go. And now Eric Edgern has it this time. Watch this on takeoff. Here he goes. He pulls straight back on the stick, and you got to watch out. It is going to be something a little bit different than you don't normally see here at air shows. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. How about the upside down for Eric Edgern and the T-Clips flying high for you here for this virtual air show. Oh, yeah. And Edgern throws the airplane upside down once again in the T-Clips. Here he goes, pulls straight back. Up he goes, climbing for altitude. Remember, you can run out of airspeed. You might run out of airspeed. This looks like he's going to run out of airspeed there. And now he drops it back towards show center, picks it up, and pulls it upside down with the snap roll right there here at show center. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Eric. It'll refresh. Ladies and gentlemen, now watch Eric Edgern throws his airplane way up high, and he will climb for altitude here and then start the show back in progress. Ladies and gentlemen, now watch Eric Edgern as he comes back to show center, just showing you guys the takeoff and how amazing this airplane is. And now watch Eric Edgern and flying the T-Clips. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something you don't see every day, but it is something you do see and you do enjoy. Watch this, and smoke comes on once again towards show center. Here comes Eric Edgern and the T-Clips aircraft as he does a upside down. Here comes a roll. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is Eric Edgern and the T-Clips. How about that, folks? Nothing flies better than the T-Clips on a sunny afternoon. And now watch him as he pulls straight up, and it will kick it over, left, right, side, upside down, leaves him hanging upside down by the prop. Here comes a couple rolls on the way down. Good afternoon, Avery. And watch now, Eric Edgern now throws the airplane upside down once again, looking outside his cockpit. And there comes a loop-de-loop right here towards show center. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Edgern and the T-Clips. What do you guys think? And now here comes a nice little roll right on the way up towards the top show of show center. This time, ladies and gentlemen, he has maintained it. There's a couple upside down. He rolls it there with the snap roll on the way down, folks. There we go. Eric Edgern and the T-Clips aircraft. Look at this. Now he rolls it upside down just like this once again towards show center. Coming back to life here. Watch now as Eric will throw the airplane. Keeps it climbing. Keeps it climbing. You can run out of airspeed at any time here in this performance. And look at a hammerhead right down towards ground. Here comes a stick forward. He pushes the stick and rudder left and right. Look at this, upside down he rolls it, and right side up he goes again. And this time, folks, smoke comes off by Eric Edgar and the T-Clips aircraft. This plane is very good at capability. The capability of this airplane is just unbelievable. It can do what it is supposed to do. And watch this, ladies and gentlemen, as he climbs. And then he'll come back inbound to start his second part of the show. How are you guys enjoying this air show, virtual air show, everybody? How are you guys enjoying the virtual air show, everyone? And now watch this, folks. Nobody does it. Nobody props it up just like him today. This is all about pressure. This is one aircraft that can do anything you tell it to do. You can roll it, you can fly it perfectly, and you can boost up his skills and show everything you do in this air show aerobatics today. And now watch this, ladies and gentlemen, as he circles back around towards show center once again. Smoke comes on the T-Clips aircraft on the mall. Watch now as he'll go pitch the nose straight down toward show center. And then he'll make a huge loop in the sky. This is a thanks to all the men and women of our armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Edgar and the loop in the sky. There's the loop, folks. And he does it right over the top right here. Nice little upside down. Nice little 4-point roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Edgar and the T-Clips aircraft. Upside down he goes again. Straight back on the stick, holding it by the prop, getting him out of his seat. Ladies and gentlemen, he will come by and do 2 more passes for you this afternoon. This is going to be a knife edge pass. Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. Eric Edgar and the knife edge. Oh yeah, folks, what do you think about that? Oh yes, and the beautiful T-Clips aircraft. Nobody flies it better than Eric Edgar and the T-Clips. He will come around and do 2 more passes for you guys this afternoon here on this virtual air show this afternoon. Watch now as Eric sets up for his next maneuver. This is a inverted pass. Smoke comes on the T-Clips. Here we go. He flips it upside down, and here's the inverted pass. Ladies and gentlemen, how about that? Right here by Eric Edgar. Oh yeah, folks, that's what we're talking about. Beautiful airplane and a beautiful sound. This will be his last pass. And then he'll set up for landing, and we'll get our next performer up. And you guys are going to be interested of seeing who's coming up next. And he'll make a nice heavy little turn right here towards show center. Just like this. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. This is Eric Edgar and the T-Clips. Watch this. Upside down, nice little roll right side up, and he goes right into a knife edge flight. There we go, folks, and he'll set up for a landing this afternoon. How do you guys like that performance? Let's hear for Eric Edgar and the T-Clips aircraft this afternoon here at this virtual air show, folks. And guess what we have coming up next? You guys are gonna not believe what you guys are about to see here. It's gonna be something a little bit different. And yes, it is gonna be something unique. And you guys are probably like, what? A blimp is part of the show? How does a blimp? You guys are probably like, how does the Goodyear blimp become a part of the air show? Well, folks, it is. Okay, it is part of the show, and you guys know it. We got ourselves something a little special here. That's right. We got a blimp in the show here. We have to just find it for a quick second. Well, I have no idea where the Goodyear blimp is, but I can tell you right now, the blimp is somewhere. Uh, all right, folks, we have to just back off for a second. We have to install the blimp again. We do have to install the blimp again. Something went wrong with the blimp that we don't have it here. But we do want the blimp here. And you know, guys, the blimp's the most important part of the air show industry. And I can tell you right now, it is what's not there. What's not there to like about the Goodyear, huh? Goodyear blimp is always blimping around, making progress, showing you guys the capability and stuff like that. And we do want to have the blimp before we get the warbirds. And the warbirds are going to be the important history about the warbirds, which you guys are going to think it's crazy. We have a lot of history about World War II and the warbirds and stuff like that. Well, guys, I don't see the blimp anywhere. So, with that being said, we are trying to do this for a quick second here. You know what? We're gonna skip the blimp this afternoon. We can't find any blimp in sight. There is no blimp. We'll be skipping the Goodyear. So with the switch here, all the lighting on all these aircraft is just amazing. That is also being participated in one of the most unique flying skills. All right, folks, since we can't find the blimp anywhere, we will hold you short with the blimp. We will take off with the Warbirds. It's going to be our show, so stay tuned. And then coming up after that, we have RVs, RV8s, Red Line Air shows coming up after the Warbirds. All right, folks, as we show you guys the most important industry about World War II, and a lot of aircraft, a lot of people realize that the most part, industry part, or the most important part is learning about the warbirds who can fly every single day at all these different shows around the world. They put on a good show. They do. No, you guys do know that you guys are seeing something spectacular. So as you guys see right now, good afternoon, Daniel. And we have a Warbird show for you guys this afternoon. So get ready to hold on to your seat belts. You will see the most consistent aircraft that which we will be taking off very shortly. Part of the warbird industry. We'll be throwing some bombers up in the air as well. As you can tell right now, we will be throwing some bombers up there right now. As they're getting tested, their engines getting tested, their motors getting tested. This is a couple bombers that we're throwing up in the air this afternoon. And here we go, folks. With most of the important industry of World War II, folks, you have seen unbelievable and the huge amount of bomber flying this afternoon. And on takeoff right now, you see the bombers that are on takeoff. You'll be seeing the most importance of these aircraft as they do come back and show you guys how this thing is going to react. And they'll be going over to the circle over the water here until they get called inbound. As the bombers now circulate in World War II, folks, the importance of the fighting aircraft, the fighter aircraft, which was the B-25s, the P-51 Mustangs, important industry and important part of the history of World War II, has always been known as one of the most historical parts of air shows from around the world. And I can tell you right now that these planes are very, very well kept, and they are still flying today in the air show industry. The problem with this, folks, is how beautiful are these aircraft? How beautiful are these airplanes, you may ask? These planes just keep flying and flying at every show today. As they will be coming way out over here, and they'll be getting called inbound, and then they'll be coming in for some strafe runs. And later on in the week, guys, we will have pyrotechnics and all dynamite, gasoline and dynamite, which will be taking place throughout the week as well, with pyrotechnics with a couple little with some booms going on this week. And they want them to hold right over the lake here, so they're flying right out over here till they get called inbound. These are the most important part of the history, folks, of World War II. And the aircraft like the P-51s and the Corsair and the strafe runs by the aircraft, which was like the Corsair. If you've ever noticed, the Corsair has wings that are folded. The reason why the wings fold is because they land them on the aircraft carrier, and it just it will be easier for them to fit on the aircraft carrier if so. Ladies and gentlemen, as this moment right here, moment of truth of what we're about to see here, and here come the fighter aircraft inbound, and as the bombers do go out over the water, as they're circling, and they will be waiting to be called inbound. Listen to the roar of the British aircraft, what you are seeing right now. Nothing sounds better than World War II, folks, and the beautiful sounds of the bombers and history of World War II. There's also been T6s multiple times. If you see a line of T6s in formation with their smoke, and it is an important part of the history of warbirds, guys. This is part of the warbird industry. This is the most important part of the air show. The reason for it is the aircraft and the people that fly these things. Just keep them coming and keep flying them, not constantly, repeatedly, over and over again. There's nothing else better than this. If you have the warbirds are the most important part of the history of aircraft. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the bombers will be called inbound, and as they do circle back around, they will be coming inbound. And get ready, folks, because you're going to be seeing what the bombers do on their run here towards Airshow. And once the bombers are done, we're going to take up some fighter aircraft once the bombers are done here. They are called inbound. We are ready to go. Here we go, folks. This is part of the warbirds. Here they come. The bombers are called inbound, and here they come right here over the top. At all parts of it here during this virtual air show, folks, the bombers. Here they come towards show center. They're coming back inbound as they are called inbound right now. Let's listen in. All right, bombers, you guys ready to come back inbound? Runway 36. You guys ready to come inbound? Yep, we're on the hold and we're ready to come inbound. Sounds good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. As you just heard, the calling by the bombers, and here they come as they make their turn this afternoon here at Airshow Center. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the bombers of World War II. Let's listen in as they come back towards Show Center. Here they come. The sounds of this Pratt & Whitney beautiful aircraft. Let's listen to the beautiful radio sounds of the bombers. Ladies and gentlemen, here they come right here. Part of the industry of World War II has also been communicated. Look at this as the bombers now circulate right over the top here. Here they come. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, look at the beautiful sounds of the B-25s, including the British version of the B-25. The gunman who sits in the back always would fire his guns and shoot down all the enemy aircraft in World War II, which gives them the opportunity to fight and save throughout the fight in battles right here. And now watch, as you can tell, the gunman who sits in the back of the airplane also fires away and deploys what is now huge in this air show. And here they come, and now the other bombers coming inbound as well. They'll be setting up for one more pass, and then we'll take off with the fighter aircraft like the P-51s and the Hellcat and the Bearcat and Tiger Cat. I guess you could say there's so much of these aircraft, so much warbirds in the air all at once. Now the sounds and the sights just manages to be such a beautiful sight and sound. In World War II, guys, you see tons and tons of aircraft that were fighting the Japanese back in World War II. The aircraft now that was fighting were the CJ-6's name change aircraft, and also the Red Star aircraft. The Red Stars were now also a formation group of airplanes that were also flown in World War II as trainers in Japan. As there comes another one, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Bomb run right here. If you could imagine how this looks in World War II, look at that. The doors open. Let's listen to the sound of the B-25 bomber as the doors open. Look at that, folks. There's where they all hide right under here, folks. And now the landing gear comes out. We'll get ready for the fighter aircraft coming up as we taxi out with the fighters. Fighters, you guys ready to taxi? Yep, we're ready to taxi. Runway 36, and you guys will be clear for takeoff. Okay, the aircraft will be clear for takeoff, and that is also by the P-51s and the aircraft. You'll see a whole bunch more during the week as we have some of the finest aircraft, which is included by the North American P-51. This you're about to see the P-51 Bunny aircraft. Bunny is about to take off. You're about to see Bunny take off with the P-51 Mustang. Yeah, nobody. And let me tell you something. The P-51 has been the most positive aircraft in the war here. It's an American fighter. It is a great aircraft. It was used for strafe runs. It is used for multiple reasons in the aircraft industry today, and we're lucky that they keep these P-51s flying. And the Mustangs. Here we go as Bunny is on the roll. Listen to the sounds of the P-51 Mustang as he rolls on for takeoff. As they get the fighters off for takeoff here. The P-51s were also used or were also great fighter aircraft in World War II. And there goes Bunny, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Bunny is a P-51 that is absolutely such a beautiful, phenomenal airplane that everybody likes to see. As the Mustangs now on takeoff will come back inbound. They'll be working their way over to the island here, like what we saw before. You'll see a formation of Mustangs, which is 5 P-51s that have Mustangs written all over these guys, and it's 5 P-51s. As all 5 of these Mustangs are in formation. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Nothing has the sounds of radio sounding, Pratt & Whitney sounding engines of the P-51 Mustangs. Look at that. Now, back in the day, in World War II, the Mustangs were also flying to defeat the enemies in World War II, and the attack by the Mustangs were all lined up in circulation here this afternoon. Look at how the P-51s are all in formation, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this as we make an overhead pass, couple overhead passes by your P-51 Mustangs right here at Show Center. It has been in a very important history of the P-51s and the XP-51. They call them the F-51 Fighter Mustangs, fighter aircraft. With the sound of the Mustangs as they come roaring in over the top of the Airshow Center here, you will be hearing the sights and sounds of these beautiful radio sounding P-51 Mustangs from the ground up. Let's see what it looks like from the ground. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, right there. The sounds, sights and sounds from the beautiful sky of P-51, the Mustangs formation. Usually, a lot of times, folks, the Mustangs are perfect, beautiful airplanes right here at Show Center. Look at this as they come right over the top here at Crown Center at Show Center, folks. The P-51 Mustangs formation flight. And it's like in World War II, folks, the Mustangs were always used as properly aircraft that were known as fighter aircraft in World War II. They did bomb runs, they did strafe runs, they've done so much. Here they come, the P-51s at Crown Center right here. Nothing gets better than the sound of radio sounding P-51 Mustangs and Pratt & Whitney sounding aircrafts this afternoon here on this virtual air show here this afternoon. Multitasking each aircraft. The Mustangs have a red tail, which means it was a Tuskegee Airmen aircraft. Tuskegee Airmen. If you've ever heard of Tuskegee Airmen, these are the planes they have flown in World War II. As the Mustangs come back around, guys, you'll be able to see the fighting sounds. Listen to the noise when they come back overhead. Here they come from in front of the crowd. Your 2025 P-51 formation team. Here they come, folks. The Mustangs straight ahead at Airshow front. Nothing has sounds better than a P-51 on those World War II nights, folks. It is great sounding airplane, great reliable aircraft as well as the P-51s. The Mustangs were used as a great American fighter. They call them F-51 Mustangs. P-51 means pursuit fighter. Pursuit 51. F means fighter 51. And these are P-51's Pursuit Fighter number 51. Ladies and gentlemen, your P-51 Mustangs during the virtual air show, folks. Here are the P-51s. As the Mustangs break apart from one to another, and you will be able to see some dogfighting here at Show Center. Ladies and gentlemen, P-51, round one of the P-51s, as they come showing you from inbound right here at Show Center. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 P-51 Mustang Strafe Run. as one of the P-51s is now solo flying right from one side to the other here at Airshow Labs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for dogfighting. They all are following one and another. Here it comes, P-51 dogfight right here in World War II. And the beautiful sound that you hear by the P-51s have also been modified as one of the highly modified aircraft that were used for fighting aircraft. And here they come right here from the left. One by one, ladies and gentlemen, as now they dive inbound, and here comes the fight, and the dogfight begins by the Mustangs of your P-51s. As they all start pulling up right from one to another right here, you can feel the excitement by the Mustangs as they roar overhead into the blue skies. And this is such a beautiful sight and sounds of the Mustang, as the P-51s were a great fighter aircraft in World War II. They used a lot of Mustangs and a lot of Bearcats, maybe some Hellcats as well. The Mustang is so fast, it's hard to keep up. And now here comes another one right here inbound. From the left, ladies and gentlemen, the P-51 dogfight attack. Now it's a scary situation. If you were in a situation in World War II that you've heard P-51s coming right at you, you know there was something up with the Mustangs as they do come back inbound from the left. That's also by the AT-6 Texans, which are used for trainers in World War II, and they also used L-39s. We'll throw some jets up after this pass here. This is the last pass by the P-51 Mustangs, and then they'll set up for a landing. And the gear comes out once again, and there comes an up and over the top. And once the Mustang's set up for landing, we'll launch some L-39 aircraft, which were Slovakian military trainers in World War II. So you see the L-39s that will be rolling out here on the side of the runway as well. I think the L-39s are pretty spectacular. You also got a MiG-15 that will be going up as well. Or if not today, you'll see them a little bit later on in the week. And as you can tell, we have some amazing fighter jets. There's the blimp, guys. Coming up, we'll have the blimp after the Warbirds here, after the L-39s. We'll take it up. We'll have the L-39s go up, and then we'll have another one, and then it's time for the blimp. Why not, right? Have a little air show with the blimp. You guys are saying blimp time. What? Blimp? How can there be a blimp part of the air show? There's a lot going on here as the L-39s come back around the corner. These jets were used as a Slovakian trainer in World War II, as the L-39s were great aircraft for training fighter jet pilots in World War II. And here we go, folks. The L-39s are on rolling takeoff. Brakes off, and here go the L-39 jets. This is the L-39 Albatross. Tons of these L-39s were used as great aircraft for some some part of it. There's a pull-up. There's the L-39s on takeoff now. These, like I said, these jets were used for multiple reasons for training fighter jet pilots that were never used for fighter jets, and this is also another one in the whole pattern here. As we watch the L-39s, multitasking has been part of the air show. We saw P-51s, we saw bombers. Now we're seeing L-39 aircraft, giving him all it takes this afternoon. These L-39 aircraft were special aircraft that the Soviet aircraft industry has been flown by the Slovakians. Multitasking is what they usually call these L-39s, as these beautiful sounding birds come right over the top, as they will circle out by the water till they get called inbound. Well, these L-39 jets are Albatrosses, L-39 Albatross. These are some great aircraft, and I can tell you right now, they are beautiful. They sound great. And nothing sounds better than the Albatross of a L-39. And now the Albatross will be called inbound. Here they come. As now he makes the turn, and he'll be back. We'll be back right into show center right here, folks. By the L-39 Albatross aircraft, calling the L-39 of its own aircraft. Beautiful sounding airplane. Nothing sounds better than the L-39. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the L-39 Albatross, as now smoke comes on one of the L-39s, folks. This is something you don't see every day. It is a set of two L-39s in formation, primary aircraft. Now we have two L-39s in pack. With the two L-39s, here they come towards show center. Making it happen here at air shows. It's the green L-39. Here come the Albatrosses. Let's listen in to the beautiful jet sounds. Without saying, the L-39 so multitasking as one of the most impressive airplanes that were used for training other fighter jet pilots in World War II. If you weren't a fighter pilot and you wanted to learn how to fly a fighter jet, this plane would be good planes to learn in. The L-39 Albatross aircraft in World War II. The L-39 was also capable of showing you guys in precision. And the Albatross will turn on his smoke once again. Here they come from the left, ladies and gentlemen. The L-39 Albatross at Show Center this afternoon. As the L-39s will set up for landing this afternoon, as they do come in for landing, we would like to thank all our jet pilots and whoever else is part of the air show as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we do set up for one more jet, as we will be launching one more, folks, and we will be getting underway. The airship is in here, and we are ready to launch the airship, which is the Goodyear, and we will have him coming up once the warbird set down. You guys are probably looking at me or talking, listening to me, saying, "What? A blimp? Part of the warbird show?" Not kind of like that. As the as we get the blimp launched, we'll have a chance to get it off right here. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. How about the blimperoo? And he'll be coming inbound. We will circulate him, and we'll get the blimp in the show center here in just a second as we set up for all the aircraft landings with all the warbirds, and then we'll have the overriding the Goodyear. And there's a blimp is on descent. This thing's a loud sucker, if you can hear it. This thing's loud as it gets. This thing is as loud as it gets, folks. I usually don't say blimps are not that loud, but yeah, you are wrong. Blimps are noisy. Blimps are absolutely noisy. And this blimp, what you're seeing here today, is out here getting ready to perform, show you guys the capability. I told you guys something's wrong. Look at that. It's the blimp attack. As the other aircraft sets up for landing on 27 here. And with them setting up for landing, we're going to be turning stuff over to here shortly, very momentarily, with the Goodyear. Skywriting high for the Goodyear and the Goodyear Aviation Blimper of all sorts of good stuff. Here's the blimp on cue here. Why not take the blimp up underneath, and we'll be setting him up here very shortly. It is always nice to see the Goodyear here and performing for us this afternoon. Nothing's going to be better than that. Especially the sunny skies of the air show this sunny afternoon as the sky ship is, as we call him in here very shortly. And once the Goodyear's done, then we'll have something else coming up. And here we go, folks. This is the blimp, and nothing sounds better than the Goodyear. And like I said, this air show is presented by uh, Eargoes. Eargoes is a sponsor of this air show this week. So we like to thank Eargoes for their sponsorship for this year's air show. And they are the ones that are bringing it to you guys live this afternoon. And we're bringing it live to you this afternoon as well. The Goodyear and flying high. And now as the blimp comes back towards show center, or as we try to handle it, ladies and gentlemen, the Goodyear is part of the 972106 blimp of the afternoon. Don't forget, guys, we do have another part of the show here tonight where you can actually watch short takeoff and landings right from the ultralight field. And the Zeppelin is now in degrees tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Goodyear blimp. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. The blimp is here. I'm moving approximately at 50 miles per hour, or 20 miles per hour. I have the latest. This is how they do it every time here. Showing you guys what is good capability here of the Goodyear. And here comes another one here by the Goodyear. And another one showing off what he does here. And here comes the hover, ladies and gentlemen, right here for the blimp. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think about the Skyship 6.0, the Goodyear blimp, ladies and gentlemen, here at the air show this afternoon? What do you guys think about this? It is pretty neat. It is pretty neat. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. The blimp makes its debut here at air shows all around the continent. They do perform, they do play, they do fly at sporting events, NASCAR races. They do perform or fly at the Daytona 500. They also fly over the NBA Finals, over NBA games. They also fly over NASCAR races, golfing, golf outing, and golf sports, and all that other stuff. As the blimp does special events as well. The advertisement of the blimp is a special feeling by the Goodyear. It is, of course, 100 years of the Goodyear blimp, and we hope you guys are enjoying what you guys are seeing this afternoon here by the blimp. That is making its way around Fort Show Center this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How do you guys like the blimp? What do you guys think? The blimp in the sky ship has been prompted for 2025. The little things that you see going up and down on the blimp has also been part of the blimp's propellers that makes it go up and down during their performance. And now they're going to be coming in for a landing here this afternoon. As we like to thank the flying of the blimp and the manufacturer of the blimp, it has been a pleasure of performing this afternoon here for the blimp here. And we will be launching 2 aircraft once we bring down the blimp here. And then we got P-51s, 3 P-51 coming up. And I guess you can say 3 Mustangs or 2 Mustangs. And we still have more. We have Maryland A-10s, 4 A-10s, Jerry Conley in the Vampire, Matt Youngkin in the Beach 18, the USAF C-17 demo team will be here. And Beta EC Toll and Trojan. And the, not Trojan, the Texan Thunder will be up. And Skip Stewart and Prometheus. And also the F-35 Lightning. We've got so much good stuff coming up your way here this afternoon. This is how we kick off a terrific afternoon of the air show, folks. Nothing ranges better than this. Thank you so very much for participating. It's the airspeed 17 miles per hour. We're blocking the descent. And the crew of the blimp has everything in formation. As the blimp sets it down, guys, we thank you so very much. We will be getting off with 2 RVs taking off. RV 8 aircraft, who is flown by what you call it today, who is flown by Ken Reeder and Austin Reeder. It is 2 RVs. It is Redline Air Shows. They put on one heck of a good show, and you'll see them this afternoon, and they will be coming up here in a few minutes as 2 of the finest RV aircraft will be launching, talking it over. A lot of A lot of chitter chatter about the RV aircraft and also the nice looking home built. These are RV 8s who will be launching, and pretty amazing to see something like this. I absolutely appreciate all the RV aircraft and 2 aircraft and one one after another. I guess you could say this is how we have it here this afternoon for this afternoon's air show, and we are absolutely looking forward to this great performance we launch as we launch. Some great formation flying here between the wingmen of Redline. And here they go, ladies and gentlemen, right here. As Redline is on the roll here. They're taking off. They'll climb up for altitude and then they'll be coming in here shortly to put on a heck of a demo for you guys this afternoon. And they will lead off and they'll be circling high above as we set down the other aircraft. RV aircraft has been very popular and very nice aircraft over the years, and they are very nice airplanes, and they still are fantastic. As the transmission has it underneath. And as they circle high, they'll be just circling over the top here of Proud Show Center this afternoon. Now they are called in. And once they're called in, it is a with a remarkable portion of the show this afternoon here. As Team Redline will be coming up here in a couple minutes as we are running the show perfectly on time. We'll do that for just a second. Get this team off. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your team. Team Redline. Let's enjoy their performance. Ken Rader and Austin Rader. This is Austin's first time ever performing here at this virtual air show. Ladies and gentlemen, Redline Air Shows. Yeah, they both spin their airplanes all the way around. And now watch right here as he pulls back on the stick. Upside down they go. And here they go all the way around, upside down. Just like this here at Airshow Center. Now watch this as they roll it around right here, making a Cuban 8. Ladies and gentlemen, Redline Air Shows. What do you guys think so far? Look at that, folks. How do you like that? There is Redline Air Shows. Um, they would like to name their sponsors Concord Batteries. Titan Fuel, and much more. As you watch the dad come back inbounds, but from the left, doing his solo routine, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here he goes right now, Ken Reader and RB8. So what do you guys think about Redline so far, folks? And here he comes back down to show center right here. No, it comes down. Or looks straight down to the ground, and here he comes. He pulls the airplane all the way upside down once again in his beautiful RV-8. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the kid who's flying this thing right now. Showing you what it's got here tonight here at Airshow. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? Don't try that with any of your RVs. And now the formation will set up again. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Redline Airshows from Crowd Center. Ladies and gentlemen, Redline Airshows. Smoke on, and here we go. As they both pull upside down at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, right here towards Show Center. And now it's a Q&A turnaround. This is father and son, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like it? What do you think about it so far, folks? Oh, yeah. As the son is on the left wing, and the father is right here, directing him right in for traffic, ladies and gentlemen. As they come back to Show Center once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Redline Airshows. This is one of the best airshow performers in the airshow industry. With everything being such a success, the Redline Airshows coming in once again to show you and do part 2 of their act. Here comes smoke on, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Redline Airshows coming in from behind, and here they come. Right here, watch now as Ken calls it pull. Let's listen into the cockpit. Here we go, guys. Ready, turn. Ready, pull. Yes, sir. We got pulling back on the stick. And a loop up in the air again. Here we go. Ready, back. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, sirree, this is Redline Airshow. How about a nice little roll for Redline again? How about that, folks? Redline is kicking it over. What a performance so far here, huh? What a move, ladies and gentlemen. How about as now they're as they circle back the other way to come inbound. They will be making 4 more passes for us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, they like to think as now the son or the father of the aircraft will be doing his solo flight right here and right now. Once again, Redline Air Shows also would like to thank everybody for tuning in and watching their performance this afternoon during this virtual air show. Ladies and gentlemen, now watch. Here comes Ken Reeder of Redline Air Shows. Folks, watch as now he comes right over the top. Here they come. Redline Air Show straight towards show center. Here they go. And Ken Reeder now will pull back on the stick right there. And here comes a roll. Right upside down, right side up, right side around. And here comes the down maneuver right here, folks. Just like this. This is how he does it. Now watch this as he pulls straight down on the stick and now he climbs. Watch this. He goes straight up in the air. And he'll call this the hammerhead. Keep it looking over the top. There's the hammerhead, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, look at that. There's the hammerhead turnaround here at Show Center. And now brings the airplane nose forward, clutching it up. Once again, here's another pullback on the stick. And a roll on the way up. And here comes the loop. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. How do you like that? Let's give it up for Redline Air Shows, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing goes the way they do it today here at Show Center. What do you guys think about that, folks? Hello, RNJ. And now he'll be wandering his airplane all the way around in a circle once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is it right here. Now watch as the son and father now team back up again and get in formation. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch now is another maneuver by Redline Air Shows. This is one of the best maneuvers you'll see through the air show industry. Ladies and gentlemen, right here. And here we go, folks, as they come back for another pass. Get ready to watch Redline Air Shows. Smoke on. Here they come as they both come inbound from the left or from the crowd in front of the crowd show center. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Redline Air Shows pass. Thank you guys for being a part of it, and thanks for being a part of their show today. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a loop in the sky saying that they enjoy you guys for watching. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, right up we go. And over. Ready, pull. That is a heart in the sky for you guys. What do you guys think of Redline Air Shows, ladies and gentlemen? Let's give it up for Ken Reeder and Austin Reeder. And Redline Air Shows, folks. Let's give it up for the crew today. They'll be setting up for a landing this afternoon. As they set up for a landing, we have something amazing coming up next that you guys might enjoy. We got some racing going on. And we hope you guys enjoy the racing because you know what? The racing's amazing part of air shows. Can you hear me, RNJ? And if you can, how are you doing, buddy? All right, good show, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, good show, everybody, right here. Okay, you can text it back right there and text it back, and thanks for a good show. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, right there, as we take a moment once again to thank our air show, and we couldn't do it without anybody's help, and we couldn't do it without anybody being here and taking their time to do what they do for us, especially the air boss. Air boss is the most important one during this air show, and we can't thank these guys enough for doing what they do. Ladies and gentlemen, as they taxi out, we get ready to show you guys something a little bit interesting here, a little bit different as they take off and they'll climb and then we'll get up in the air. I really think this is going to be something amazing, truly amazing throughout this week of air shows, and it has been an amazing show so far. There's nothing better than this. You got Speedy the P-51. Speedy the P-51 is also a aircraft that is it's a Mustang that is used in World War II. Let's send you over to the other announcer to let him tell you what you are about to experience. Take it away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again, folks, as we get ready for what is going to be an amazing part of the lineup this afternoon. And we know for a fact that we're ready to roll, we're ready to rumble, we're ready to shake and bake here. Ladies and gentlemen, on rolling takeoff this time, flaps come up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to take you back in time of World War II once again. And as we take you back in time of World War II, you watch and hear the sounds of the radio sounding engines by the P-51 Mustangs once again. All these P-51s, these Mustangs that you saw, these are racer aircraft. Number 38 was a Reno Air Racer that takes you back in time. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to see now, this is Vicky Benting and Warren Peach in the P-51 Mustangs in remarkability of what they're about to show you guys this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, watch now as you get ready one by one in a diamond formation or a parallel formation. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we get ready to drop the green flag. This is exactly what happens in Reno. When you watch Reno Air Racing, ladies and gentlemen, this is Reno Air Racing here in the skies today in Virtual Air Show. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Here we go. It is time for green flag, and it is Reno Air Racing here at Virtual Air Show. And now the green comes out, and what happens next is what happens now. And there they go as the Mustangs now pull back towards show center right here as they now recuperate. And both Mustangs are in the lead. And now Vicky Benting is in the blue one. I mean, Warren Peach is in the blue one. And also, Vicky Benting is in the purple plum P-51. And now the race is beginning right here as number 38 comes around here and shows you guys show center and all the activity that you see during Reno Air Racing. As the Mustangs now circulate all the way towards show center. You're about to watch as the P-51 will pull back and show you some air racing at high speed. And now he drops it down towards show center as the flag as we prepare. And here he comes right here towards show center. Well, behind the crowd or in front of the crowd, here he comes. And now watch as now the Mustangs come back, and here they come once again for another vertical pass down here down show center. As the P-51s are now activated, as many would say P-51s in World War II were American fighter aircraft that they used in World War II for fighting, and they also changed them into air racing aircraft. So if you like air racing, you have seen P-51s air race. There's over 15 Mustangs at the latest that I know of that fly during these air race. Phenomenal. And here we go right here now for another one right here, folks, as the Mustang now circles back towards show center as he comes over the lake once again and over the water for another pass. This beautiful Speedy P-51, which is called Speedy, of course. Speedy is one of the highly modified air racing Mustangs in the world today. Nobody races better than Speedy the P-51. Ladies and gentlemen, from the right, Speedy Mustang P-51. As Speedy hits right on deck right here towards show center, there comes Purple Plum right behind him. And now they let go right there, and now he departs from this other side. Ladies and gentlemen, now Purple Plum will be departing for a landing, and now Speedy will take over and show you some aerobatics. What you're about to watch by Speedy is the Reno Air Racing, as Speedy is now hot rod flying at 175 miles per hour by the P-51 Speedy. Speedy is a great P-51, like we've talked about before, World War II, fighter aircrafts like the Mustang and the Corsairs. Nobody flies better than the Corsair or the P-51. As we watch again, ladies and gentlemen, here comes Speedy, back from the right, towards show center. Watch as Speedy now then pulls into a vertical and a Cuban 8 turnaround. Pulls it upside down and turn around for a Cuban 8 with a barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Speedy, the P-51. Cuban 8 turnaround by Speedy. Right on deck, ladies and gentlemen, once again, here's Speedy. And now Speedy pulls it right up. Around we go. Upside down, and there's the Cuban 8 turnaround. And here comes the downward, and watch a barrel to close it out. Hey, Levi. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Speedy and the P-51 Mustang. Give it up. Let's hear, ladies and gentlemen, for your Speedy P-51. Hallelujah for Mr. Speedy up here in the air tonight, folks. Putting on a great aerobatic demonstration for all of you. Here comes Speedy once again back down towards show center. This is a 4-point hesitation roll by Speedy. Let's watch as he counts 4-point roll. How's it going, Levi? Here we go. Pulls back on the stick, and here we go. Count with me. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Speedy is now coming back around again, which will be a dedication for a lineup pass. This is a line abreast loop for Speedy the P-51. Fantastic. Welcome to the virtual air show. And now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. As Speedy comes back to show center, you'll see a line breast loop. Watch this in the sky for Speedy the P-51. Line and breast loop. Here we go. Ready. There it is. Pulls back on the stick. With a snap roll. Couple snap rolls up on top for Speedy. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about Speedy, the P-51 Mustang, P-51D? And now as we set up for a landing here by the Mustangs. And once the Mustangs do set up for landing, we will like to thank our sponsor, Go Ear Goes. Ear Goes are today's sponsor and all week sponsors of this air show. Thank you, Ear Goes, for the sponsorship. And you can check out Ear Goes. They are the #1 earplugs you have. If you don't like loud noise, they will cancel out jet noise for air shows. There's one that cancels out jet noise, or two, if you go to a concert, it cancels out the noise. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about the Mustangs and the racing? All right, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch next, coming up next by the team as they get set to take off. And we'll tell you about what we have coming up here right now. Indubitably fantastic. You got 4 of these aircraft. That's what I said. You got 4 of these aircraft that will be circling and rotating over and over again. As you guys prepare to watch and set up, you get 4 from Maryland A-10s demo team. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to watch 4 A-10s take off in the skies today. The combat training, the A-10s, this is Warthog flying. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, let's watch the A-10 Warthog and high flying machines by A-10. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 A-10s are on the roll here at Show Center today. As they practice or get out there and do one thing called by the hog. Ladies and gentlemen, the hogs will climb and he'll start. Here come the hogs, take off. Ladies and gentlemen, you get 4 A-10s as they climb and they'll lead you out to the other side. And they'll have set up for an approach by the 4 A-10s. This is the only time you'll see A-10s before they are shipped in a museum or before they head to the junkyard. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce you the formation of A-10 Warhogs. The demonstration that you're about to watch is the A-10's capability of showing you dogfights that they used for Desert Storming when it was Desert Storm time. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing right now is a formation full of A-10 Warhogs, and the A-10s now are capability. These are the 4 A-10s from Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to watch the A-10 Warhogs as they come out over the center line, and there we get ready to bring them inbound. We'll tell you about the A-10s. The A-10s were used for Desert Storm and fighting in the Desert Storm era. If anybody remembers Desert Storm, this was the A-10 Warhogs demo that they fought, and they used their machine guns to fight the enemy in World and Desert Storm era. This is the only time you'll see the A-10s fly during these shows, folks, because after this year, the A-10s will be retiring, and you won't see any more A-10s fly during the show. There's a formation of A-10s out there, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to bring them inbound here very shortly. The A-10 Warhogs were used capability for dive bombing and attacking the enemy's armed forces in the air show or in Desert Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, here they come as they call them in. The Hogs are ready to come inbound. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to watch. From the right, the A-10 Warhogs high speed pass as they come inbound. Formation, folks. This is the Desert Storm pass when they line up in formation and attack the run. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, get ready. Here is the A-10 Warhogs formation pass. From the left or from the right, the A-10s are capable of shooting down the enemies here in Desert Storm. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, it's the A-10 Warhog night shot of the Hogs, as they secretly come in from behind or from the airshow left and from the right. Ladies and gentlemen, the A-10 Warhogs fly overhead pass here at Show Center. Here they come from crowd in front of the crowd. The A-10's formation Desert Storm pass. Could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if you were in Desert Storm and you saw four A-10s dive bombing you to get attacked? The dynamic of the A-10 is capability by all announcing profits of today's performance by the A-10 Warhog. The Hogs are now capable of showing you guys the next generation of the A-10 Warthog flight team in formation. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we would like to ask, please, if we can dedicate this next pass to all the men and women of our armed forces. At this time, folks, please look towards the left or towards your right as the A-10s circle above, and they'll be back inbound towards crowd center. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen, the United States A-10 Warhog. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now watch as the other A-10s work their way off. You're about to watch solo pilots come right towards show center. Now watch as the A-10 is going to pull up and do a vertical climb called tactical pitch. From in front of the crowd center, here's the tactical vertical pitch by the A-10 Warhog. If the A-10 is now capability, watch now as the A-10 is going to do a bomb run. This is the bomb run attack by the A-10s. Watch and enjoy the pitch and a forward. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, right there, towards show center. It is the A-10 Warhogs. Best maneuver of the year. Week. As we get back in formation once again, the wingmen in the position of the A-10s have now synchronized. What you're about to watch the A-10s do, ladies and gentlemen, next is how they would land with their opening. Ladies and gentlemen, as the A-10 calls this a fake landing with, if you were on an aircraft carrier, they're going to show you a touch and go maneuver called by the A-10 specialization by all our military. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, here is the A-10's landing. Short landing, and then back on the stick. Ladies and gentlemen, from the right, the A-10's landing and takeoff. As the A-10 set up for landing, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you for watching our demo this afternoon and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about that? How about that, ladies and gentlemen? The A-10 Warhogs and their dynamic. I call that dynamic, folks. It was spectacular. Who loved the A-10, ladies and gentlemen? Who thought that was amazing to watch? We loved it, didn't we? And we are about to hand stuff over to the de Havilland Vampire right now, or as he gets winded up. Let's send it over to the announcer, Jetlags. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jetlag Air Shows and Adventures. We appreciate you being here to today's show. We are about to experience something a little bit different in the most unique way of aviation. The noise, the whining of the noise of the de Havilland Vampire. You're about to watch something that the vampire usually, you're about to see the vampire take off and do some flybys for you this afternoon. We appreciate you guys hanging in here and watching the de Havilland Vampire. As you can tell, the noise and the whisper of the vampire. What you hear on the side of the engine this afternoon is the de Havilland Vampire that is winding up his engines, testing off his engines. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, let's turn on the smoke, get the fire up right now, get your Canon cameras ready, and get on with the action. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we would like to welcome, and here comes the presenting by the vampire. Here we go on takeoff. De Havilland Vampire, you're ready for takeoff. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go as the De Havilland Vampire is on roll and takeoff this afternoon here at Show Center. Smoke comes on. Good afternoon. And now watch as what was going to be called the Vampire's takeoff. And the Vampire will circle out over the top here, and we'll be back in shortly to show you guys an impressive air show stuff today. Cooling down his jets a little bit. And the whistle here is the uniqueness and the most impressive sounds by the de Havilland Vampire. Nobody flies it better than Jerry Conley in the Vampire. Ladies and gentlemen, as he circles out here for a little bit here till they call him inbound. He will make some passes towards Show Center. Actually, right now he's coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the de Havilland Vampire's pass. Right on deck, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Conley and the Vampire. And now Jerry Conley will make his way back the other way around. Folks, this is the Vampire's time to present to you the Vampire Strike. And what you're about to watch now, and here comes another setup pass by Jerry Conley in the Vampire. Watch from the center stage. This is Jerry Conley's low pass. As the Havilland Vampire is also flown by Jerry Conley, he makes it look so easy, ladies and gentlemen. It is as challenging as a vampire gets. And you know, the vampire also likes to fly and does all his other stuff at Show Center. And when we watch another pass taken by Jerry Conley's beautiful de Havilland Vampire, watch this. Smoke comes on. Once again, another slow speed. As Jerry Conley makes his way to show center once again, as he's going to set up for another maneuver here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Conley and, the Vampire watch high speed pass. As the Haviland Vampire will make two more passes towards show center. Ladies and gentlemen, watch as we watch Jerry Conley and the Vampire called Vamp. Good afternoon. Smoke comes on, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Jerry Conley and the Vamp. Two more passes. We have dedication right here. The next pass that you're seeing right now for Jerry Conley is the next pass dedicated to the men and women of our armed forces. As he takes our time to represent and sponsor, and we'd like to thank all our men and women of our armed forces. This next pass, ladies and gentlemen, is dedicated to our veterans and our military. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for all your service. And ladies and gentlemen, here's our dedication pass. And our next maneuver, ladies and gentlemen, is Terry Conley's final pass. Now, he would like to also thank the whistling sound of his aircraft. Eargoes are earplugs that are good. They're top 10 rated. I give them a high rating. They're the best. I have a set myself, and they are phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here is Jerry Connolly's final pass. High speed pass. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the de Havilland Vampire. What do you guys think? Give it up for Jerry Connolly and the Vampire called Vamps. You'll be circling around, setting up for landing this afternoon. You'll be back through this week to do more. We got Matt Youngkin in the Twin Beach, in the Beach 18 coming up next. Once we clear Jerry Connolly for landing. How do you guys like that performance by Jerry Connolly and one of the best airplanes in the world called the de Havilland Vampire called Vamps? Ladies and gentlemen, your de Havilland Vampire. Give it up for Jerry Connolly, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Connolly and Vampire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as he does taxi back here, we will be getting set up for our next performer this afternoon. Yes, I say yes. It is who it is. It is who it is. And we have a special treat for you guys. Mm. And we do have a Twin Beach coming up next, which is you're probably going to say to yourself, why is there a Twin Beach in an air show? Well, yeah, it is an air show, but he is part of the air show, ladies and gentlemen. He is an awesome pilot. You guys are probably really going to like watching him fly. He does put on a night show as well. He does put on one heck of a good air show. And ladies and gentlemen, in the moment, the truth has been all over this for many decades. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would ask you guys, please get ready to watch what is going to be called a delight in the sky, called Magical Elephants in Disguise. The magical elephant is called Ellie the Elephant. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, if you watch on takeoff roll, smoke comes on, and of the Twin Beach of the Beach 18, ladies and gentlemen, let's watch the dancing of the sky called Dance in the Moonlight by Matt Youngkin and the Twin Beach 18. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Smoke comes on. As the smoke fires up on the Beech 18, let's watch Mr. Matt Youngkin on takeoff roll. Ladies and gentlemen, on top of everything here at Show Center, Mr. Matt Youngkin and the Twin Beech, called Ellie the Beech 18. And he'll start all the way from the top here. He'll come back inbound in just a little while. What you're about to see is magical and delight, which is now the Beech 18's biggest maneuver. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch in this beautiful Beech 18, Mr. Matt Youngkin and the Twin Beech. Do I have anybody still here on this party watching? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the moonlight dance of fall night. You are about to watch his performance at nighttime as well, as he puts on one heck of a nighttime show, and you guys won't want to miss it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt Youngkin and the Beech 18. How are you guys all doing today? How's everybody doing this afternoon? How are you guys enjoying the air show? Has anybody ever seen a plane do this before? Aerobatics? This is called the Elephant Waltz. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Matt Youngkin and the Twin Beach. How do you like that, folks? Beautiful formation, beautiful airplane. He does a great job with his air shows, folks. Matt Youngkin and the beautiful Twin Beach. Oh yeah, I think that is just terrific. Watching somebody who flies the lights out of this airplane, ladies and gentlemen, it just makes it a little bit unique in the formation that he has called his name today. We thank you guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be back with you guys here in just a few seconds. I by accidentally disconnected my air show. There we go. We're back at it. Sorry for problems or technical difficulties. We got the USAF C-17 demo. And we have it coming in right here from the left side today. Called this the calling in the C-17 Global Master. Puts on a phenomenal display. As we can tell you guys right now, folks, the C-17 is the Global Master, and it does haul a lot of cargo. Let's send it back to my buddy, Jetlags. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to take my time to introduce to you what we call the Global Master 17, C Global Master, and the C-17 Demo Global Master. As we get ready to watch, what you're about to watch now is some flybys that the C-17 has performed. You'll see reverse thrust that he will take off and he will land in reverse thrust. As he will back up on the runway, you'll hear a lot of noise. You'll hear screaming by the C-17 Global Master. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please watch the C-17 Global Master as he comes inbound from the right today, as the C-17 Global Master is now in store for what is going to be a flyby. Ladies and gentlemen, this C-17 Global Master will make some flybys for you what you're about to see as the C-17 is coming inbound right now. This big aircraft is a Restorance, which carries a lot of vehicles that are inside and the Restorance of what a C-17 Global Master has. The aircraft now is coming in hot pursuit from way over the top of everything, coming in from the left or from the right. Doesn't matter where you're coming in from, ladies and gentlemen, but the C-17 is in for what is going to be making some flybys this afternoon. As the Global Master now works his way to show center as he is coming inbound at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to watch what is now called the C-17 Global Master and the high execution in a high-speed pass. The C-17 is one of those jets that are capabilities that can haul and descend about 20 times the airplane and the body weight of each aircraft. Each time, what you're about to watch right now by the C-17 Global Master, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the C-17 will come overhead and make pass number 1 down show center left. Ladies and gentlemen, right at this time, may you please look overhead. The C-17 Global Masters first pass of the year day. Here comes your C-17 Global Masters pass. What a C-17 can carry is a whole bunch of vehicles of military use that nobody will find out what kind of use they're for. As the C-17 now circulates and comes back to show center. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, would you please watch the C-17 Global Masters high-speed pass. On the flight line, ladies. Here's the first pass. The body weight of this aircraft is over 200 pounds or 455 pounds, especially if you store stuff inside. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the C-17 Global Masters pass. The resistance of all the aircraft and the big boom that hangs off the back of the C-17 is also known as the Global Masters Big 300 and big 700-pound weight that it will be lifted in to the aircraft at 200 times the power and the body weight, which makes this aircraft very weightless when you're flying it. Ladies and gentlemen, now this time, here's a slow speed pass by the C-17 Global Master as he comes back over the top toward show center. Ladies and gentlemen, your C-17 Global Master slow speed pass. And the next maneuver you're about to watch the C-17 do. The next maneuver you're about to watch the C-17 do is set up for a landing. Make sure, folks, if you are interested in what the C-17 does, you are here to see it. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to feel the thrust when he sets up for a landing. In reverse afterburner, as the plane will reverse its speed from high pitch to a reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, this is their last pass of the day. Get ready to watch the C-17s land and reverse. As he touches down, get ready to feel the noise. It's going to get loud. As he reverses, puts it all in reverse. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your C-17 demo team. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about that? Haha, right? Is that something or is that something? Now we got something a little bit weird and a little bit different than that you're not used to. You may be wondering to yourself, Ghost, we have something coming up next. This is a unique aircraft that you're about to watch in just a second. Then we have the United States USAF glider team coming up yet to come. Skip Stewart, Carl, the T6 Texan Thunder glider team, and then the United States Air Force F-35. Be back right with you guys in just a few seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here's something you don't usually see at an air show. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Here is the BETT. Right there, right now, anywhere. You're looking right here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's send it over to Beta E Stoll. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What we're about to experience right now is what you're experiencing is an unique aircraft that has never been flown at any other thing in the world. You are looking at what is an unique flying service. The unique part about this flying machine is it is a very, very, very classic and it's a very old looking airplane. It may look as old as it gets. That's not because of the detail of it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, it is different than what you're not used to. Look at what you can do with it. You can make it go sideways. You can make it go any direction you want it to. And it makes it look as cool as possible here at the air show this afternoon here on this Tuesday afternoon of the day air show, folks. How unique is this? How often do you see this? Not very often, folks. This is very unique in a way that it has never been flown in a situation like this. I think the most unique thing is how do you turn this thing? How do you manage it? It looks like a flying boat, which is kind of similar in a way. Like, you can call it a flying boat if you really wanted. But the possession of it might be unique. It is the most weirdest looking flying machine you will ever see. I guess you can just count it that it is the most uniquest thing you'll ever see, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is it right here. It is the beta right there. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about that? Something a little bit different. And he'll come in for a landing. Give it up right there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. What do you think about the most unique flying machine in the world today? Yeah, that is a little bit different. Actually, we're going to we're actually going to move on to a pits instead. We're going to move into Skip Stewart and the pit special. Yes, guys, you are watching Skip Stewart in the pits. He'll be coming up next. And then after that, we'll have the U.S. glider team. And once the U.S. glider team is done, you will absolutely be seeing the you will be absolutely checking it out with the U.S. Marines by the F-35 Lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch now, get ready for some high extreme aerobatics in the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you at the runway that is left from right. He is taking off of 1-8. Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. Smoke comes on, gets ready for high beat action. High smoking action. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you. Watch this on takeoff. Here is Mr. Airshow Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Watch this now on takeoff, ladies and gentlemen. This is Skip Stewart and the Pitts biplane. Here comes Skip, ladies and gentlemen, as he gets set. Here we go, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch Mr. Skip Stewart on takeoff. This is something you don't see every day. Here we go, folks. Smoke comes on, music goes on. Here comes Skip Stewart and the Pit Special. Watch on takeoff right there. And how about a little bit of Prometheus action tonight for Skippy? Let's enjoy watching his performance this afternoon. Here comes Skip as he throws it in upside down. Ladies and gentlemen, Skip Stewart and Prometheus is one exciting air show act you'll ever see. Watch this. Here's 9Gs right there. He tumbles the delayed aircraft all the way around show center. And now watch this as Mr. Prometheus right here. Watch Skip Stewart coming down towards show left. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Skip and his aerobatics. In the most craziest maneuver you'll see, Skip 2 all day. Look at that. What about Skip now right here, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Skip Stewart pulls the airplane right up in show center now and does a couple snap rolls at the top like this. Oh yeah, hold on, Skip. We're going for a tumble. Nobody flies it better than Skip Stewart here. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Skip Stewart. What do you guys think? Give him a little Prometheus upside down. Turn around, watch Skip pull it straight up in the air. And a couple little snap spins on the way up right on top right there. Calls it the avalanche. Or calls it the tornado. And hello, Skip, and there it is, right over the top, causing the Humpty Bump right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, Skip Stewart and Humpty Bump time right here at Airshow Center. Oh, yeah. Oh, upside down he holds it there by the props right here, by the tail feathers of Skip Stewart and the Prometheus. Hold on tight, fans. Skip is rocking and rolling here at Airshow. As much heavy Airshow stunts he can do tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get up for Mr. Airshow Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Yeah. Snaps it over the top one time and kicks it heads over heels as Skippy now calls him the avalanche roll torque. Watch now as now Skip pulls it upside down once again right here towards show center and calls it a little upside down figuration. And look at this now, there's ribbons. There goes Skip. There goes ribbon number one, ribbon number two, and ribbon number three. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Skip Stewart and Prometheus. And here we go again. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Skip goes underneath again and slices two more. Oh, yeah. That is a triple ribbon cut, folks, by Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. And Skip will get ready to set up for a landing here, folks. And that is his performance for the day. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to watch next is the United States glider team as we get set to watch what is going to take place. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you the United States glider demo team. Look high and to your left as we get set for what is going to be called a glider aerobatic demonstration with the United States Air Force. It's the Air Force Jet Glider Team called the Glider of Afterburner. What you're about to watch now, ladies and gentlemen, might go boom, might not go boom, who knows. Ladies and gentlemen, but besides that, it is the Glider Team. This is a glider team with all propellers and all meanings of life. The glider team is also sponsoring in today's aerobatics show. Ladies and gentlemen, as he climbs for altitude, we will get ready to see what is going to be called by the glider of freedom. It is a propped aircraft. Which is now called the jet glider. Here comes the glider. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to go boom. And it is also called by the glider and sets him free. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing better than this. You see him here at Show Center. With how this glider reacts to the ability of capabilities right here by this glider. And the glider aerobatics has now made it to debut. Ladies and gentlemen, you might want to get your hearing protection on because it's going to go fast. As fast as the sound barrier, it's going to break it. If not so, then the plane is also capability by the Coca-Cola aircraft and the sponsors by the United States. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, here he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your United States Glider Jet Team. Let's give it up one time for your United States military glider team from a long distance. Ladies and gentlemen, showing you what he's got. He's landing it in elbow down loud speed pass, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure. Thank you so much. Let's hand it over to the United States Marine Corps F-35 Lightning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, virtual airshow fans. You're about to experience something that you don't usually see every day. This is the F-35C model. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're ready to watch. for the F-35 Lightning. There's nobody does it better today than the F-35 Lightning in Show Center. Now watch, ladies and gentlemen, as the F-35 gets ready to roll out. Call herself Mach 280. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage of the F-35 Lightning. Her name is the most fearless pilot in the world today, Melanie Mach. Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch as Melanie Mach rolls it for takeoff. Here we go. It's the most fearful fighter jet in the world. Air, United States F-35 Lightning. This is the most useful and the most unique aircraft in the world today as the F-35 Mach now comes back right here. She'll set up and show you the capabilities of what is now going to happen by the team and the tailhook today. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you right now. If you want to dedicate a by the United States. Here comes another sign right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the F-35 Lightning. She pulls straight. Here in the beautiful skies this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the sound of freedom always brings back the holler of F-35 Lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, here she comes back to Show Center in a 4-point hesitation roll. As you watch the radius turn between the F-35. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to watch next is the F-35's high radius turn into G-force pulls. Here's your United States F-35 Lightning burner turn. What, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to watch next by the F-35. And now she'll set up for her next maneuver. This is a high speed pass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to watch the F-35's next maneuver. This next maneuver you're going to see the F-35 do is a slow high alpha. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the right, the high alpha pass. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to watch the experience by the F-35s. Once again, feel the thunder of the F-35 Lightning. This next pass, once again, is the high-speed pass below the speed of sound without breaking the sound barrier at 700 miles per hour. Ladies and gentlemen, your F-35 Thunder Lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's demo. Thank you, and participate thanks to our military and our armed forces. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the F-35 Lightning demo team. What do you think about that, huh, Melanie Mock? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Melanie Mock right here, who flies the F-35 like it's nobody's business here at the Airshow. As she sets up for landing, we thank you so much for participating in today's Airshow. We would like to thank you guys for watching today's show at all meetings of today's performances. Don't forget, guys, tonight we will be having a Twilight Fest show that you guys won't want to miss, and it kicks off tonight at 8. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening for now. You guys take care, and we'll see you guys. Remember to pick up your trash and all your belongings. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we will see you at Twilight Fest this evening. And that concludes our afternoon air show. Goodbye, everybody. See you at Twilight Fest.